Hello everyone, my name is Amanda and welcome back to another video of the Planty Mandy. So today gonna be one of my two videos. I'm gonna talk about Hoya sisters. So first of all, what do I mean by Hoya sisters, right? So by Hoya sisters, I mean that these two Hoya species that are supposed to be sisters have the same parents. And the growers hybridize the parents, right? And then it's from a seed pod. And then they grow the seed, they sow the seed, right? They try to germinate the seed. And then for some reason, some of the seedlings actually demonstrate a really distinguished characteristics than the others. And hence, the growers will register them as two different species, even though they are from the same parents and from the same seed pod. So that's what I meant by sisters. So I know some of the people have trouble understanding why they are from the same seed pods, right? And have the exact same parents, but they're two different species, right? So think about it this way, like when we propagate Hoyas, most of the time we take a cutting and then we put them in like water or moss or whatever, right? So when you're doing that, you're actually just cloning a plant, cloning that particular Hoya, meaning that the baby plant, like aka the cutting, have the exact same genetic profile as the parents. However, when you propagate Hoya by seed, right, each seed in the Hoya seed pod actually carry a slightly different genetic profile, and sometimes the seedlings can show really different or somewhat different characteristics, and that's why the growers will register them as two different species, right? It's just like you and your siblings. Like this is a very good example. Like it's just you and your siblings. You and your siblings have the same parents, right? However, you guys don't look exactly the same, right? So that's basically how that works. So today I am gonna talk about two different Hoya species that are supposed to be sisters. And I do have one of their parents as well. So you can kind of like tell, I can tell that this baby is come from this parent. It's just like, people tell you that, oh yeah, you look like your mom or you look like your dad, right? So, so we can all look at that. And then, I'm going to tell you, from my personal experience, like, do they grow really differently? And also, even though I tell you that today that, they are sisters, there are still some debates out there from different experienced collectors or growers. So I'm gonna explain those to you guys as well, so we can have like a more comprehensive or broad understanding of these two species, or are they truly sisters, right? So let's get started. All right. So can you guess which sisters I'm gonna be talking about, because there's not a lot of Hoya sisters out there that are registered, right? So can you guess who they are? All right, so you're right, or maybe you're wrong. I don't know. But today I'm gonna talk about the sisters that I'm gonna be talking about is Hoya Joy. So this is my Hoya Joy. I'm sorry, like this guy has been growing like such a long tendril, but yeah. So this is my Hoya Joy. And you can see it has round leaf. You can see some speckles on it. It's just because I'm giving it like, somewhat highlight. This is actually a newer leaf, so you can see it's a little bit softer. It have like this maroon, like a very faint maroon margins. And the text, you can see the texture of the leaf. You can see the veining of the leaves. So yeah, so this is some more mature leaves. Yeah, so you can see this is my Hoya Joy. I love this plant. I have it for a while. It wasn't growing, it wasn't growing like anything in a while, and also they just stopped growing. All right, it started as three leaves, and it's sisters. Hoya Metallica. All right, so you can see this guy. I'm very impressed with the new leaves, to be honest. And you can see it's really like, it looks very, very similar to Joy, right? So you have this like round shaped leaf, like a faint maroon margin. And then you can see the veining as well. And then yeah, speckles just because I'm giving it a lot of light. But just look at, like, this is the older leaves. And this is the newer leaves. You can see how like, this is like off the topic, but you can see how like the different growing environments, are giving the leaves a somewhat, actually very different appearance. So yeah, so those are the sisters I'm gonna talk about. So again, I'm gonna put them side by side. Hoya Joy and Hoya Metallica. So you can see, like, in this, pictures, you can see that Hoya Metallica, the leaf is like slightly bigger than Hoya Joy. However, this can also be due to the age of the plants, right? So it's not like a determining factors, right? But you can see that they look very similar. Very, very similar actually. Yeah. So just to give you the backgrounds, I got both of this plant from Coco Ranch Hoyas from Susan Schwarzweger a long time ago. Not a long time, like a few years ago, right? And at the beginning, I didn't know they're sisters, but I just think, oh wow, because I like big round leaves, right? You guys already know that in my Hoya foliage favorite video, and that's why I bought them. So yeah, so this is Hoya Joy and Hoya Metallica. So the parents, like I said, they're hybridization, right? So the parents of Hoya Joy and Hoya Metallica, they are Hoya vetulina, which is a species, and then also Hoya sparlaus. So I do have a Hoya vetulina, so I can show you what it's look like. So this is my Hoya vetulina. So you can kind of see the resemblance, right? So it's also like round leaves, and this one, the leaf is even a little bit more smaller. So you can see, it has, round leaves, it has some subtle winging, you can see the texture, and then it have pretty succulent leaf as well. Some speckles just because of the light, and then you can see this one is gets sun stress. So instead of red, it's actually turned a little bit more like purple. And yeah, so these are the older leaves, and you can see the purple right here. So yeah, so this is Hoya vetulina, which is one of the parents of Hoya Joy and Hoya Metallica. So I'm gonna put this. So Hoya vetulina, Hoya Joy. This is Joy. I confuse myself. All right, so this, right? And then this is Hoya Metallica and Hoya vetulina. Parents, one of its parents, right? So now the other parents is Hoya sparlaus, which I do not have. And I try to look up, okay, what does Hoya sparlaus look like? And then when I, obviously when I Google, there's so many different like Hoya sparlaus showed up. And it's very hard for me to pinpoint which one it is. I'm sure there's like, expert out there who know which one it is. However, I can't be sure. Like I don't even want to put a picture up because I don't know which one. Because when they say Hoya sparlaus, right, it's literally just mean it's a Hoya that is found in Laos. So spar means species, right? So sometimes you see like Hoya spar Philippines, Hoya spar, I don't know, Sulawesi, something like that. So it's just basically, where do the collectors actually discover the Hoyas? And because they don't have a name for it yet, so they just name it spar something. Most of the time, if you want to find out which Hoya sparlau exactly it is, there would be a accession number, a session number that is attached to the name. But for sparlaus, there's just so many conflicting information out there, so I cannot confirm. So if you guys know, please leave it in a comment below, because I don't. Like, I'm really honest, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, so this is the mom, one of the parents, Hoya vetulina, which give birth of Hoya Joy, okay, and also Hoya Metallica. Yay! All right, so they're sisters, right? Right now I'm gonna talk about there's some debate out there, so I'm gonna talk about that later. But right now, let's say that they're sisters. let's assume that we believe that they're sisters, right? They look very similar, as you guys can see. However, I want to tell you that in my experience, in my environment, they actually require different care for some reason. All right, so the story is, so I got Hoya Joy, I got Hoya Metallica, right? So I was like, oh yeah, they're sisters, so their care should be really, really similar. And I look at their characteristics like succulent leaves, big leaves, I assume that they would want more light, right? So all Hoyas want light, but some, for example, the more succulent species, they tend to like more lights than the thinner leaf species like multiflora or I don't know, Iris Marie or something like that, right? So yeah, so I put them literally right next to each other and under like a pretty strong grow light. And what happened was Hoya Joy was really happy under that grow light. It's keep growing out new leaves. Like I said, it start with like 2 or 3 leaves, I forgot. And then it's keep popping out like new grow pond, new leaves, etc., etc. So I was like, oh, cool, it's happy. On the other hand, Hoya Metallica didn't grow at all. Not only that it didn't grow, right? But when I actually check the leaves, like I trying to like feel to see if there's anything wrong, like pests or whatever, right? Nothing is wrong. The roots are fine, the leaves are fine. The roots are fine, but then when I feel the leaves is actually feel really soft. It's like it is dehydrated. And bear in mind that I actually water them, the same frequency to every 7 to 10 days. When Joy get water, Metallica get water. So I know that it's not the watering factor, and I know that it's not the roots because I also check the roots. So basically, the only variable left at that point for me to adjust is the light. So I was like, oh, you know what? Okay, I'll try and see what happens, right? I like to experiment. So I leave Hoya Joy at the same spot because, obviously it was happy, right? So why change it? So I'm the big fan of like, if the plant is happy, just don't change it. Don't move it. Don't do anything to it. So I move Hoya Metallica slightly, maybe like half a foot away, or a foot to half a foot, I forgot, away from the grow light. And within weeks, right, a few weeks, when I water again, I check Hoya Metallica, the leaves become firm again, and then I start noticing new grow pods. And you see all this like new leaves, right? Like the sparkle one, right? It's actually new grow, and then you can see like it's also have new grow pond right here, right? So it's also have some new grow pond at the bottom. I don't know if you can see, but yeah. So apparently, even though they're sisters or they're from the same parents, Hoya Metallica enjoys slightly lower light than Hoya Joy. So I just think like, and then since then, I leave Hoya Metallica in the slightly lower light spot, and it has been happy. So yeah, and then I leave, Joy in the tangent, the regular spot, and then it has been happy. So yeah, so I just found that, this is extremely interesting phenomenon to me. You may find it boring, but for me, I find that's very interesting because even though they are supposedly sisters from the same parents, should have very similar care routine, they actually do enjoy slightly different growing factors. In this case, it's light. So I think that's very fun. So, and that's why I like to experience. So yeah, so I just want to share a little bit about my caring routine for Hoya Joy and Hoya Metallica in case you have one and you want to try to figure out, how to make them happy. So I leave this part for the last because, Hoya's nomenclature is confusing. All right. So nomenclature, I mean like, the naming and, is this species actually registered? And which species is supposed to be which species, or someone have been calling it the wrong name the whole time. All this debate, right? So, for example, if you remember, there's the Hoya latifolia and Hoya I'm blanking on names. Hoya latifolia and Hoya macrophylla, right? And debate. And there's also a while ago, I don't know if you guys have been collecting Hoya for how long, but a while ago, like a bunch of Hoya, like Hoya possei or Hoya parasitica, hard leaf splash, a bunch of them like get grouped into Hoya verticillata. So all of a sudden, all my Hoyas become Hoya verticillata. So there's always all these changes in nomenclature, right? So there are, when I look up, and when I talk to a couple like experienced collectors, some from US, some from Sweden, and there is like, different opinions on if Hoya Metallica and Hoya Joy are actually sisters, right? So I'm gonna leave the judgment to you, but this is what I know and, from my research. So there's 2 main sayings, all right? So one of them, it's actually from Christine, she is the mastermind behind myhoyas.com, and she's a really experienced and famous collector in Sweden, which have a huge, amazing Hoya collectors community. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and check out, I think it's called Swedish Hoya Society. That's what the name is. And also check out Christine's website, which is myhoyas.com. You know, pretty amazing information. So according to her, Hoya Metallica and Hoya Joy are in fact sisters. And just like I explained earlier, you know, they have the same parents, Hoya Spalaus and Hoya Vetelina, and they are from the same seed pod, right? So that's what Christine's, you know, mentioned. So I actually emailed her a few nights ago, and she was very nice, very friendly. She responded to me almost instantly, and she said, yeah, you know, from what she knows, or her experience, yeah, this is the case. Like, they are from the same seed pod, and they're sisters, right? I'm like, cool, thank you so much, Christine. So I, you know, did a little bit more digging, right? It's just my nature. I just like to like go deep in stuff. But anyway, when I did a little bit more digging, there's another collectors, I don't want to mention name, but there's another pretty experienced US collectors. I think she's either based in Florida or Hawaii. I forgot. But anyway, she said that no, Hoya Joy, okay? Hoya Joy is actually the population name of Hoya Metallica. So I interpret, I can be wrong, okay, again, but I interpret that as she means that Hoya Joy and Hoya Metallica is actually the same plants, right? Which somewhat makes sense, I think. You know, I can see where she's coming, I should say it. I can see where she's coming because they're from the same seed pod, you know, so they are supposed to be the same plant, right? So yeah, so that's what I got from that particular collectors. And again, you know, this is just from what I found, you know, online when I did my research. You know, there could be new information that come up that I don't know. So if you guys know anything about, you know, this debate, or if it is still a debate, maybe, you know, people already have an answer. I just don't know. But yeah, but that's from what I actually, you know, find out online, and also talking to Christine, you know, why Hoya, why she think that Hoya Joy and Hoya Metallicas are actually sisters. All right, so that's all I have got for you today. So today we talk about the concept of Hoya sisters. So meaning that this Hoya species, right, these two species have the same parents, right, and they form a seed pod, and then when the growers actually grow the seed, there are certain seedlings that looks really different, so demonstrate really different characteristics, meaning that, you know, their genetic profiles may be like different, right? And then, you know, that's why the grower registers them as two different species, right? So these two Hoyas we talk about today is Hoya Joy. Very beautiful. I love my Joy. Like, I have always liked this plant. So yeah, so I have rounded leaves, and you can see more succulent, right? Very prominent textures and slightly maroon margin, right? And then the sister is Hoya Metallica. Also large round leaves, right? And then you can see the winging, succulency, you know, the slight maroon margin, very beautiful plants. And I do have one of the parents, which is Hoya Vetelina. Right? So you can see the resemblance because of the round leaf and the texture, right? It looks slightly smaller. So I'm going to put them side by side. You can see. Yep. So yeah. Ooh. Yep. So what do you guys think? Do you think they're sister? Leave in the comment below. So I would like to know what you think. I would like to know if, most importantly, if, you know, you think that there's any, you know, new information or any things that I didn't mention in my video, or I mentioned incorrectly in my video. Make sure that you leave in the comment below to correct me, because I always up to learn something new, because obviously I don't know everything. So yeah, so yep, that's it for you today. And if you guys have Any question, feel free to leave it in the comment below. If you guys have experienced growing Hoya Joy and Hoya Metallica, and then you do experience the same thing as me, like, you know, how they require different growing environments, let me know as well. I would love to hear about your experience. And as I mentioned, this is one of the 2 Hoya Sisters video that I'm going to filming. I did get off my way. I did go out of my way to find another pair of sisters for you guys, so I can discuss it in a video or just for myself. You guys are just my excuse. But yeah, stay tuned for that. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to click like. If you want more future video, make sure to click subscribe. And I will see you next time. Thank you and bye.